I've been playing music, writing, recording, producing, performing music for a very long time. I'll leave it at that. And I have chased that American dream, kids. I've chased it down. Some call it chasing the dragon. Arguably, my dragon was a limited perspective on what success means as it might relate to creative output and monetizing your art, monetizing your music. I chased that dream for a long time, and along the way, I met a lot of people, and I worked with a lot of different musicians and producers and engineers, and played all over the country. Actually had an album out, had a number 3 hit song in Britain, Germany, France, when I was a strapping young lad, still in high school. Thought I was pretty cool. Charting is different in Europe, so like there could be a song from 10 years ago that all of a sudden starts charting. So there was a Madonna song, a Megadeth song, and our song, and we were number 3. I think the Madonna song was number 1, Megadeth was 2, and my song was number 3. Pretty wild, kids. I charted right up there with Megadeth and Madonna back in the day. So here's the story for today. Episode 1 of Cognitive Dissonance. It makes so much sense, it makes no sense. I was in a band called Suicide Saloon. We definitely lived up to our name. I kind of, be careful what you espouse to. It could nearly kill you. But at any rate, Suicide Saloon, we had an album called The Alcoholic Angels from Nightmare City. And we had moved from the Quad Cities, Iowa, to the Bay Area. We were actually on our way to Seattle, and we were going to be meeting with Susan Silver, who at the time was married to Chris Cornell of Soundgarden. And we were going to be talking to her possibly about managing our band. And then about a week before we were set to go to Seattle, we did a show. I wouldn't even call it a show. We just showed up at this place that we used to play at a lot called the Tri-Lighter. It was a dead night. There was no one there. We played 3 sets of original material, 3 sets of all original material. We would do that frequently for free hot dogs and free beer. And there was a guy that originally from the Quad Cities, who was now an A&R rep for an independent label with major funding called Pump Records out of the Bay Area, out of San Francisco. And he happened to be in town. He happened to be there on that Monday night. He grew up in Davenport, Iowa. He stopped in for a beer and a hot dog. Hot dog and a shake. That's what you're hungry for. Little David Lee Roth there for you. And he loved the band. And he felt like we were better suited to go to the Bay Area. There was kind of like this sort of scene bubbling up around there, that like funk metal. And I think we were kind of in that area enough that he thought we would do better in the Bay Area. So we rerouted. We went to the Bay Area. We signed a record deal with Pump Records. And I recall that we did a show, I think it was called Uncle Charlie's or Uncle something or others. Anyway, so Jeff Watson of Night Ranger, Derek St. Holmes, of course, was in Ted Nugent's band, Carmine Appice. I could never figure out, is it Appice or Appice? Carmine Appice. Of course, his brother Vinny Appice / Appice played drums with Ronnie James Dio in the band Dio. Carmine played back in the day with a band called Vanilla Fudge. He also played with Rod Stewart, and he also famously played drums on Ozzy Osbourne's album, Bark at the Moon. Did I leave any? Oh, and Bob Daisley. Bob Daisley, who played bass on the first two Ozzy Osbourne albums. No, Rudy Sarzo did not play bass on Diary of a Madman. Rudy Sarzo was to Ozzy Osbourne what he also ultimately was to Whitesnake. He didn't play in the studio, but he liked to lick the neck of his bass guitar. He was from Quiet Riot originally, and he would like take his bass and go like and like lick his bass. Friggin' weirdo. Great bass player though. I don't know about great bass player. Very well-known, famous bass player, and technically a jobber when you really think about it. But he looked good in tights, kids. He could rock that spandex. And he liked to tongue his bass guitar. He did that a lot with Whitesnake. Someone should have told him to stop doing that. We don't want to see you perform cunnilingus on your bass guitar, Rudy Sarzo. So at any rate, Suicide Saloon headlining a pretty big club in the Bay Area, and there was a super group. You ever heard of a super group? It's when a bunch of dudes that were in other bands that were either sort of popular or popular but not that popular anymore get together and form a super group. Damn Yankees super group, Bad English super group, if anyone remembers them. This was going to be a super group to end all super groups. This was going to be Derek St. Holmes of Ted Nugent's band. I think he rocked with Nugent all the way back when it was Ted Nugent and the Asbury Dukes. Was it Dukes or Jukes? Anyway. So Derek St. Holmes, Jeff Watson of Night Ranger, Bob Daisley of Ozzy Osbourne fame, first two albums, Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman, and Carmine Appice. I'm going to say Appice. I just think it's more fun to say Appice. Famously, of course, of Vanilla Fudge, Rod Stewart, Ozzy Osbourne, and a little-known band called King Cobra, kids. King Cobra came out in the 80s, and they were clever. Four-piece band, three of the members had bleach blonde hair, like platinum blonde. Like, that was their thing. They're like, we're going to be more blonde than any other blonde bombshells in any other glam metal bands. More blonde than you've ever seen, ever. They should have been called Platinum Cobra. Platinum Cobra. Because three of the guys, platinum, like white platinum hair, except for Carmine Appice with that jet black hair, dude. He had the three platinum blondes lining the front of the stage with the jet black, the veteran in the back holding it down on the drums, Carmine Appice, King Cobra. So King Cobra came and went, and in fact, one of the guitar player of King Cobra went on to form a band called Bullet Boys. And the irony of that is that the A&R rep from the record label that pitched us and got us to reroute, refunnel our dreams in the direction of the Bay Area was a road manager for Bullet Boys. So the first night that we got to the Bay Area, I don't know if it was the first night. If it wasn't the first night, it was definitely the second night. We were at a Bullet Boys show. Yeah, man. We had backstage passes, man. We had arrived, the Bullet Boys, at the Katati Cabaret, I think it was called. No, not the Katati Cabaret. I played Katati Cabaret with a band from Chicago called Life, Sex, and Death / LSD when they got signed to Warner Brothers, featuring the infamous Stanley. Anyway, check out LSD, an album called The Silent Majority. I like it. I thought it was pretty cool. Anyway, so we're at the Bullet Boys show, and that did what that did. And we did some shows around town. We started developing a following. We ended up playing this gig, and I'd actually couch surfed a little bit around the Bay Area before I got my first apartment out there after landing a job at Round Table Pizza in Marin County. They got good pizza in the Bay Area, kids. You might not have known it. You might not think it. But let me tell you what. Round Table Pizza does a belly good. I worked at Round Table Pizza. But before I worked at Round Table, we played this gig. I couch surfed around. One of the couches that I surfed on was Jeff Watson's couch from Night Ranger. So then now he's in this band with these legendary veterans that probably no one really cares about anymore, but it's kind of cool, right? I'd say out of the 4 of those, I was pretty cool down with, it was pretty cool meeting Carmine Appice, man. That dude had the thinnest little line, like the goatee with the little line and then the lines and then like the thing, and man, and the eyeliner and the thing, he was something else. Jeff Watson, badass guitar player. What is it? The 8-finger tapping and all that stuff that he did alongside Brad Gillis. Sister Christian, oh, the time has come. You motor it. Anyway, Bob Daisley, dude. I was like freaked out to meet Bob Daisley because love Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, without Black Sabbath, I don't exist. I wasn't breastfed and I survived. If I hadn't heard Black Sabbath, I think I might not be sitting here right now having this conversation on this video. Okay? Black Sabbath arguably is more important than breast milk. Okay? Bob Daisley was like super cool, man. So we do our set. We were Suicide Saloon, man. Our motto was music to bleed by. So there was always some kind of blood thing happening and people going crazy in the crowd, and we're just getting everybody all riled up. There's another Bay Area band called Sea Hags that we were heavily influenced by. So there was sort of like this post sort of sleaze glam, gutter glam thing starting to intersect with like sort of the grunge stuff. And we kind of had a cool thing going on. And we had a little bit of a funkity funk thing in there too. So we could groove it. We could groove it, baby. So we did the show. And I'm immediately taken over to talk to Jeff Watson, Carmine Appice, Bob Daisley, and shit. Why do I keep... Derek St. Holmes. Okay? And Bob Daisley leans into me. And I don't know if I'm going to do a good English accent. He's from the UK. And he goes, "You've got the gift, son." That's all he said. If you didn't understand what I said, he said, "You've got the gift, son." Are you kidding me? Bob Daisley told me, "You've got the gift, son." He played with Ozzy Osbourne, man. Dude, that should have been it. That should have been done. Mission accomplished. No matter what else ever happens. We get a record deal. We sell millions of records. We're famous. We end up getting crazy and burning our careers to the ground with drugs and alcohol and ended up like these old bloated dudes with fried straw hair on VH1's Where Are They Now? Or do a comeback, Aerosmith comeback kid kind of thing and get into treatment and get really healthy and drink a lot of like vegetable juice. Or don't get a record deal. Nobody knows who we are. Nobody cares. But Bob Daisley said, "You've got the gift, son." That should have been enough to level any weird, torturous future expectations about success. Not for this guy. It went in one ear and out the other. I'm only celebrating this now. I'm retroactively in my life having a comeback. It's been going on for about it's been a while. A little bit. It's been a few years, okay? All right. There are multiple ways to nearly die, and I've experienced a couple. So I'm retroactively looking back and going, yeah, you've got the gift, son. So that's what I do every day, positive affirmation. I look in the mirror and I put on Mr. Crowley by Ozzy Osbourne, and I hear that Bob Daisley bass rumbling through, and I look myself in the mirror and I say, "You've got the gift, son." Until next time, this has been Jason O, a.k.a. the Archetype of Beware of Gods. If you'd like to hear my music, go check it out at bewareofgods.bandcamp.com. We've got a Black Friday discount running through December 6th. We've got 20% off all digital downloads, hard copy vinyl. It is some sticky, chunky, chewy, gooey goodness. It's like black molasses filling in glacier cracks, which is not possible, but I think that sounds cool and looks cool, right? The black filling in the cracks and the white. Oh yeah, baby. That's like cheesecake ribboned with chocolate, dark chocolate, molasses. Bewareofgods.bandcamp.com. Till next time.